So today we're going to be talking about how to buy your first home. Hey guys, so this topic is something that I've been wanting to share with you guys for a while. I think it's so important to talk about home buying, especially as a wealth building tool, and it's a great investment, not only for wealth building, but also just if you have a family, if you plan on having kids, things like that. It's great to have a home to grow your kids up in. So I really wanted to come on here and talk about what the experience was like for me and how I prepared for it. And really, if you've never bought a house before or you're currently in the process, I just have a few things that I would like you to consider and think about while in that process or before you even begin that process. And also, if you've already done this, you've already bought your first home, you are, I guess, a veteran at this point. If I leave anything out, please go ahead and leave it in the description. Not in the description, leave it in the comments for anybody else who may need that information. We all need to go ahead and help each other. I believe that anybody who wants to be a home buyer should have that opportunity, and so that's why I'm here helping by spreading this information. Granted, any of the information I tell you, it's not going to really be new information, but it's information from my perspective. And also, you know, you just may not have researched it before and now you found it on my channel. So I'm definitely happy to help in this way. So with that being said, before we even jump into how I bought my house or how you can buy your house, I want to first say that you have to have your mindset right before you even begin the process, because it's not an easy process. If it was easy, everybody would do it. But I believe everybody can do it, and so that's why I really wanted to make this video. So first things first, make sure that you have the mindset and that you're truly ready for the whole process of buying a home. So this is my second time trying to make this video. So, and the very first time I did it, it was super long, and I kind of had some issues with the footage, so I decided that I would go ahead and redo it again. So I'm really going to work on making this as short as possible, but the first time I did it, it was about 40 minutes. So if you are willing to rock with me, let's get started. So number one, you want to make sure that you have a good credit score. If you are planning on buying a house, at minimum, you need a credit score of 580. That's just the barrier to entry. But you really, honestly, truly, you don't want to have a 580 credit score, because then your interest rate is not going to be that great. And so I really would suggest that if you're really trying to get a house, you need to at least be in like the 620 minimum. In my opinion, of course, in my opinion, you need to at least be in the 620 or greater range. Me personally, when I was in the process of getting my house, I knew that I wanted a credit score of 740 or higher. And the reason I decided to go for 740 is because I knew that at that point, that's where I would get some of the best rates. I knew that anywhere between 740 and 760, like, you're gonna get, there's not that much of a difference in what you're gonna get, even if you have like an 800 score. Once you reach that 740, 760 range, you know, you're gonna pretty much be getting the same interest rates, at least to my knowledge and what I know. So with that being said, I knew that I wanted to have a 740 or higher score. And so I went ahead and I looked and I saw what my current, well, first of all, for me, I'm not born and raised in America. And so I didn't really have a credit score. And so honestly, I really wanted to buy a house earlier, but I had to actually build up an actual score to have so that I can actually buy a house. And so I had to go ahead and get some credit cards, and I got a car note, and I just did all of the things that you needed to do. And if you guys want a video on how to actually start building credit score when you have none. And also if you do have a credit score and it's bad, how to increase your score, raise your score. I am more than happy to do a video on that because I definitely have experience with both of these things. So if you are interested, let me know in the comments. So anyways, so let's get back to the topic at hand. What you want to do is you want to make sure that when you check your credit score, that it is your FICO credit score. I have nothing against Credit Karma or all of the other websites that give you those Vantage scores, but those are not the scores being used by the mortgage industry or by the car industry, to be honest, at least not in a wide scale. So you want to make sure that it's your FICO score you're checking. Go ahead, see what your score is, where you're at. If there's anything on your credit that you think shouldn't be there or that the time for it to drop off has already passed, I would go ahead and dispute that so that you can get that off there. Like I said, if you have a lot of debt, maybe you want to pay it down. Whatever it is you need to do to increase your score, you go ahead and you do that. I know that you can use annualcreditreport.com and you can go ahead and get your credit report, not your score. You can go ahead and get your credit report for each of the credit bureaus every year for free. What we did is, because we had it for the 3 bureaus every 4 months, we would go ahead and check it for each one of the credit bureaus. And that's how we kind of kept track of our credit score and our credit report. However, once we got a little bit closer to the actual home buying process, what I did do is I went ahead and I created an account with fico.com and I went and paid a subscription, a monthly subscription, and which updated me on my score every month. And anytime anything changed on my credit report, I would get a notification. And that's not something that you have to do. That's just something that I wanted to do when I was like really in the thick of the home buying process. I didn't want any surprises. I needed to know what was going on with my score. I didn't want to have like a pre-approval from a bank, and then when it came time to actually get the financing and close, something happened, something popped up. I didn't want any of that. So that's why I went ahead and got the subscription, and I think it was about $40 a month or something like that. So anyway, moving on. Once you know you have the right credit score and you're maintaining that, you need to look at your finances and see how much house you can afford. Please, I am begging anybody who's watching this, do not go house poor. Do not look at what other people have or think of like the house that you dream in your head and, you know, get swept away. And then before you know it, you're buying a house that is too much for the amount of money, income that you have coming in. Do not do this, guys. If you don't take anything else from this video, take that away, because you're going to resent the house. You're going to resent what you did, because what's the point of having a house if you can't furnish it? You can't go on vacations. You can't enjoy a nice dinner out. Like, you can't do anything because all of the money that you have is going into this house that you bought. And yeah, it might be a great house. It might be the house that you dreamed of, but if you can't furnish it and you can't enjoy your life, what's the point, right? What's the point? So, like I said, go ahead, look at your finances. There's a few places that you can go online where you can go and see how much house house you can afford. And of course, you kind of want to take some of these with a grain of salt, because I find that a lot of times the amounts that they tell you can vary, but they're usually all within the same ballpark. So I would still go ahead and do it and see how much house you can afford based on how much income you make. You want to make sure that your payments and all of those things and all of the other expenses that come with the house, that it's not more than, I believe, about 30% of your income. So definitely take that into consideration. So if you make, let's say, $3,000 a month, then 30% of that would be, what is that? Maybe like $1,000 or a little bit less than $1,000. So that means that you wouldn't want your house payment to be over $1,000. So just as like a little quick math for you as an example. Okay, so now you know how much you can afford, your credit score is right, Next, you need to make sure that you really understand what comes along with owning a home, because I find that a lot of people think owning a home is just paying the mortgage, and it is certainly not that. It is not just that. There's a lot of other things that come along with owning a home. You have the mortgage, but you also have the taxes. If anything breaks, you're responsible for it. You have to pay homeowners insurance, and if you don't put down at least 20% on the value of your home, you also have private mortgage insurance that you have to pay monthly. Like there's maintenance for the home. Maybe you have to go and get the grass cut. Maybe you need every a few months, you have some people come to spray for insects or whatever it is they do. Whatever, there's a lot of maintenance that comes with the home. You got to buy filters and change bulbs, and there's all of that stuff you have to consider. You have to furnish the home, which I wish I had thought about this a little bit more when I was in the home buying process, because if that was the case, I would have saved up a little bit more money for furnishing my home in advance. But you know, I'm not gonna cry over spilled milk. It's already done and I'm already here. But you can actually take my warning. If you are about to buy a house, I would say save up some money for furnishing it ahead of time. Don't wait until you get into the house and then decide that you want to furnish it, because it can make the process really slow. And I hate that I have to wait so long to really get my house to where I need it to be. I really would have rather just saved up while I was in an apartment and didn't have all of the additional home expenses. And then I would have been able to save it up much more quickly, and then I would have been able to furnish the house. But that's okay, because we are not house poor, so we can go ahead and do that. It's just a matter of me being patient. Okay, so now that you kind of have an idea of how much house you can afford, and you kind of considered all the additional expenses that are going to come with owning a home, it's about time you start saving for your down payment. And your down payment is going to depend on how much house you are going to have. Usually it's going to be a percentage based on the type of loan you want, or the type of the payment that you want to make. So there's so many loans, there's so many different things you can do with regard to how much you're going to end up paying on your house. But let's say that you are purchasing a house that's worth $300,000. If you want to go ahead and have a 20% down payment on that house, that will be about $60,000. Me personally, I did not do a 20% down payment, but for me, I made sure that I paid 5% down. Granted, if you do put 20% down, you do not have to pay private mortgage insurance, and also your monthly mortgage payment is going to be substantially less. So in addition to the down payment, you want to make sure that you have enough money for the closing costs. And also, once you have money for closing costs, you want to make sure that you're saving up to furnish your home, so that when you move into your beautiful new home, you have money to buy the couches and beds and all of the other cute little decor items that you want. Also, you want to go ahead and make sure and do some research and check in your city area and see if there are any down payment assistance for a first-time home buyer or low-income individuals. You want to go ahead and check that out, because if there is free money to be had, you do not want to pass that up. So once you have your down payment, the next step is that you want to go ahead and put in for your pre-approval. So this is when you want to go to a bank or some other institution, whether it's an online lending company, whatever you choose to go with. And you want to give them all of the documents that they require, and they will let you know how much they are willing to loan you toward the purchase of your home. So you're going to need to give them bank statements. You're going to have to show proof of that you have income. You want to show proof that you have the money saved up for the down payment, and whatever else they may need from you, you will go ahead and give that to them. They'll let you know how much they are willing to lend you. And then you want to make sure that you get a pre-approval letter, because this will come in handy so that buyers or your real estate agent will know that you are a serious buyer and you have gone through the steps and you are actually ready to purchase your home. Another thing that you definitely want to consider is that you want to go ahead and get a pre-approval for more than one bank or institution, because you want to see what the different interest rates are you're going to get, how much the various places are going to actually loan to you. And also consider that you want to do all of this within a 14 to 21 day time period so that it doesn't affect your credit score. So with regard to your credit score, if you are able to put in for those pre-approvals all within the same time frame, they're going to lump them all as one activity that has happened on your credit score, so that your credit score will not go down as much because they lumped them all as one. But if you do it outside of that 14 to 21 day period, they're gonna each show up as individual dings on your credit score. So definitely keep that in mind. Okay, so now that you have your pre-approval letter, now you want to go ahead and get yourself a real estate agent. This is very important. You want to make sure that you get a real estate agent that gels with you, that you guys kind of have an understanding, that they do things in a way that you like, because this process is all about you and you're buying your home. I can certainly say from experience, you want to make sure that you interview more than one real estate agent. So don't just go with the first real estate agent who reaches out to you or who somebody recommends to you. Shop around, make sure you find a real estate agent who you vibe with and you guys have good communication. You want to ask them questions, especially based on what it is you're actually looking to do. So if you're in the market for a new built home, you want to make sure that your real estate agent has done that before. Because if you have a real estate agent who has only worked or sold pre-built homes, or homes that have already been bought, they're already on the market, they are not going to know all of the ins and outs with regard to a new build home. So you want to make sure that you have a real estate agent who has experience in that. If you're trying to get an investment property, you want a real estate agent who has experience in that. So ask friends, ask family, go online, read reviews, and do everything you need to do. Interview them, ask them the questions that you need, and find yourself a good real estate agent. So now it's time for the actual fun part of this whole process. You have your pre-approval letter, you have your real estate agent. Now it's time for you to go ahead and look for houses. There are actually several things that I want you to consider when you are in the process of looking for a home. And this is something that I probably should have mentioned a little bit earlier on, but you want to make sure that you do your research of the areas that you want to live in. How far are you willing to drive to get to work? And just really think about what are the things, the elements that you want in your home. How many bedrooms, how many bathrooms? Do you want a pool? And you want to go online and just get an idea of what houses are costing in the areas that you want to be in, because then you'll know, okay, can I afford to be in this area? This will really help you, because you don't want to have like delusions of grandeur, thinking that you can get a house in an area that you can't afford, or that you can buy a house bigger than the size that you can afford. So it's definitely important to do your research ahead of time so that you know how much house you can afford, but also so that you can know all of the qualities within that house that you want, and that will make your house search even more easier. So now once you have found the house that you do, and then there's another tip that I want to give. If you have a budget for a house, you do not want to go at the exact max budget, because especially in the climate that we're in now, so I live in Charlotte, we have a seller's market, and what that means is that there's more people looking for a house than there are actual houses on the market. And so when people go to buy a house, it can actually cause a bidding war. So if you have a budget of $200,000 and then you put in for that house, but then it's a bidding war, you don't have any more money to go ahead and bid to actually get that house. But if you had looked for a house that was, say, $180,000 or $185,000, $25,000, you would have had like $15,000. So if there is a bidding war, you have a higher chance of actually being able to get that house. So that is something that I want you all to consider, especially if you're in a market similar to what it is here in Charlotte. So now after you have put in a bid on your house, you can go ahead and negotiate whatever terms you are interested in. I'm sure that's something that you can talk more with a real estate agent with. I bought my home brand new, so I didn't really have a lot of negotiation to do. So I'm not going to speak on anything that I am not familiar with. After you put in a bid for your home and it's accepted, time to celebrate. And also then it will be time to actually close on the house. So the way that this would work is they will give you a closing date, and then you would want to make sure that you don't do anything to your credit score. Don't switch jobs, don't move states, don't move anywhere actually, and don't do anything. You want to keep everything the same so that when that closing date comes and they run your credit score and they do all of their final checks, everything is in working order, nothing has changed, and so you should be good to go. So when you do get there to whatever location they give you for your closing, they will have a whole lot of documents for you to sign, and you'll go ahead and sign all of the documentation. You would also go with your check, which will have your down payment and all of your closing costs. They will let you know the exact amount that you need before you get to the closing date. Me personally, I ended up putting it in a money order. So I took that to the closing, and then we signed all of the documents that we needed. And after that, they give you your keys. And that's it, guys. You are a new homeowner. So I hope that this video was helpful to all of you. And if you have additional questions with regard to home buying, feel free to reach out to me either at my email in the description, or you can leave a comment under this video. If you thought that this information was helpful towards you, please go ahead and like the video and share this video with anybody who you feel it could help. Also, if you have already been through the home buying process and you have some tips that I have not mentioned in this video, go ahead and leave it in the comments for all of our friends who are in that process, because we really need to help each other. I feel like anybody who actually has the desire to own a home, you can definitely do that. And I am definitely pushing you towards going for your goals and your dreams. That's it for this video, guys. I will see you in the next one.